Welcome, everybody, to this week's Ask Me Anything. I'm Dr. Victoria Stakelum, Success Mindset Specialist, and my favourite thing in the world is supporting high achieving professional women to break through the mindset challenges that are holding us back and preventing us reaching our full fulfillment and success. So, this week's question comes from Linda, and Linda has asked, how can high achieving professionals who are used to caring for others shift their mindset to prioritize their own growth without guilt or burnout? This to me feels really pertinent. So thank you so much, Linda, for asking this question. How can we shift our mindset to prioritize our own growth, not just needs, but growth without feeling guilty or burning out? Particularly when we've been used to being the caregiver to others or the leader of others or the kind of protection boundary for others. So there's a few things here. When we have been in the loop of supporting others first, there are, and I'm sure you will feel this, some risks. Burnout is a very real risk as we try to straddle meeting our own needs, continuing to grow and develop, and still looking after and protecting those who look to us, whether that's in our workplace or more broadly in our life. And one of the unforeseen consequences of that can be that we gradually start building some resentment. If we are consistently putting others' needs ahead of our own desire for growth, it can start to feel constrictive, and we often quietly feel a little bit resentful, even though we're doing it to ourselves. So, really tuning into that is vital. Another thing that can occur is that the people around us develop learned helplessness. They are so used to coming to us that they become less resourceful for themselves. And I think this is really important because those of us in this pattern are usually in this pattern because we care deeply. We feel a great sense of duty and responsibility to the people around us who look to us, and we want to do right by them. And that is why we do so much for them. Realizing that you might be doing them a disservice is quite a profound shift. Realizing that the more you do for others, the more you risk them failing to take responsibility for themselves or defaulting to coming to you. It's really powerful. I've worked with many senior professional women who have become the default answer point when people have a question. So I'm not sure how to do something, or I need a piece of information. I go and ask such and such person, and such person gives me the answer inevitably, or shows me how to do it, or does it for me because it's quicker and easier and we're all under pressure. And of course, what happens then is the next time I go and ask again because I didn't learn how to do it myself. I wasn't pointed to where to find the information. I was simply given it. So now I'm in a loop of not having built my own capacity, but rather having come to you. So realizing that sometimes that service and support of others is not in their interests can be a super powerful shift to go through. Sorry, I glanced then because I thought I hadn't started recording. Can you imagine? I have. We're all good. So, being mindful of the risks to yourself, being aware of the potentially detrimental impact on those people you are helping, major shifts. With those in mind, let me also remind you that if you allow yourself to reach complete burnout because you're pulled in too many directions, helping too many people, you are no use to anyone. This is the classic put your own oxygen mask on first scenario. If you fall unconscious because you have not looked after yourself first, you cannot help anyone else get their oxygen mask on. Think of yourself as the golden goose. You will only keep laying your golden eggs as long as you are fit, well, and healthy. If you allow someone to take too many of your feathers, your pound of flesh, you will no longer produce the golden eggs, whether those be financial or nurturing or giving or doing for others. You have to cherish yourself, and growth is a part of that. and let me build on that. So your ability to give to others is is constrained by your personal capacity to do so, right? And that personal capacity is partly a function of your time and energy, but it's also more than that. It's a function of your kind of energetic power and space to give headspace, thought, emotional energy to a kind of bigger and bigger set and depth, breadth of stuff in your life. And when we talk about personal development, growing ourselves, this is an activity that allows us to expand our capacity. So we sometimes think, well, okay, I'm meeting my basic needs, and after that, I should meet other people's basic needs before I look to grow as a person. But if you grow as a person, your capacity to help others meet their needs or to meet others' needs is greater. So there's a risk that if you only kind of go, well, I'm just going to kind of give myself the basics and then it's only right and proper that I help others. That's the good girl thing to do. Don't we all suffer the good girl? I just want to be a good person. I want to be a good girl. I have it too. But if meeting your own needs and then immediately switching your focus to others keeps you kind of this big, think how much capacity you could create. Think how much bigger your cup would be if you were pouring into a much bigger capacity, then the overflow would be much greater as well to help others. My metaphor here is that you are a sunflower and your seeds feed the birds. In order for your seeds to continue feeding the birds and to feed as many birds as richly as possible, you need the biggest, strongest, healthiest sunflower. It's no good going, right, I've given all my seeds and that's it. Wilt. You want to fertilize your soil. You want to clear rocks away, emotional blockages, problematic relationships, past traumas. You want to clear all that out so that your soil is clear and nurturing to you. You want to fertilize yourself. You want to feel, grown. You want the sun shining on you. If you do all of these things year after year, you have a greater and greater number of seeds to feed the birds, right? You are the sunflower and the golden goose. All the metaphors coming out today. So it's really necessary, valuable, important, wonderful to recognize that your personal development is not just something you do for you. It's something you do to grow your capacity to have positive impact on the people around you and the world at large. And consider that to not prioritize that is most remiss of you. You may think that prioritizing others is being a good person, but there's definitely balance to be found here. It's so important that we fill our own cup so that it can overflow and support others. So, how do we do that? Couple of reflection areas for you and a couple of tools. So, noticing the beliefs we have been carrying about this and perhaps reframing them with some of what I've offered you in this video may help you. So many of us have a belief that it's selfish to put myself first or to support all the people around me is being good. And therefore, if I don't do that, I'm not a good person. Notice that narrative that you have. See if you can use some of what I've shared with you today to give yourself a new narrative that says, by prioritizing my development, my capacity to support the world grows. Okay, that's something to look at. A tool for you. So much of this boils down to our ability to say no and feel good saying no. We tend to, if someone asks us to help them, we tend to think to say no equals negative and to say yes equals positive. But of course, in reality, it is so often the case that to say yes is in fact negative. For all of the reasons I've just given, we actually don't have the capacity, or it means the person doesn't go and figure out how to do something for themselves. There's just two easy examples of how saying yes can actually be a negative rather than a positive. And how saying no can be a really beneficial thing, even though we tend to think no equals negative. To say no when we don't have capacity is a really positive thing to do because otherwise we end up too thinly stretched. Maybe we can't do the job properly. Maybe something else or someone else goes over. So remember that no does not equal negative, yes does not equal positive. Now, for many of us, we're so hardwired into the habit of saying yes without even thinking about it. We are so in that identity of serve others that it's really hard to say no. So here is a little tool for you. I like to call it the back pocket phrase. And all this means is that you have rehearsed a sentence that you can whip out when someone asks you for something to buy you breathing space, to really think about, am I falling into all of my people pleasing or serving habits, rather than really thinking about whether I want to do this, whether I can do this, whether I can do it well, whether it aligns with who I am and what I'm doing in the world. So a back pocket phrase might be as simple as, I just need to check my schedule, or let me get back to you. Or I'd love to give an answer right now, but I just need to make sure I've got the capacity to do this well. Or I just need to take a look at this. Look, it's going to be your words. It's got to be your words, not mine. Those are just some examples. For me, what works really well is, can I think about it? Um, with cheekiness built in, because that's me. Can you let me think about it before I commit? And, often in modern life, we do need to go and consult other people or schedules or work out what the rota is with the kids or the dog or work. So it's absolutely fine. Now, if you've been in the habit of saying yes, and all of a sudden you say, let me think about it, be aware that people might go, oh, I was expecting yes. Internally, they might be a bit uncertain as to what's changed and how things have changed. Don't be put off by that. Don't worry about it. What they're experiencing is theirs. You don't have to take that on. And then you buy yourself some time. You think properly about this thing that you've been asked to do or that you're inclined to do. And you make an intentional decision rather than defaulting to your wiring of people pleasing or serving. And it might be that you decide to do it, but you do so with real clarity on the trade-offs and the energy it will take and perhaps your why. Why am I saying yes to this? What is it about? What beliefs does it rest on? If it rests on they might not like me if I don't do it, that is not a good reason to be doing something. That is an identity level issue that needs resolving or a wound that needs healing. But if it's, I really want to help this person because I'm mad about them, or if it's, this feels really aligned for me, it's going to stretch me, I might need to take something else off the list. Great. Do that piece of intentional thinking and then get back to the person. If you said, I need to think about this, aim to give them a time by which you will come back to them and let them know. So that is a bit of a romp around the topic of trying to maintain your boundaries and energy so that you can invest in your personal development, so that you can increase your capacity to serve others by making those near-term trade-offs between saying yes and no, protecting your own boundaries, and making much more intentional decisions about what you say yes to. I really hope that's been useful to you. And I look forward to seeing you in a future Ask Me Anything. Hit me up with your questions each week and I'll record you one of these.